detention facilities are badly outdated and in need of critical renovations, with almost all of its physical plants in significant dilapidation. Los Angeles County Probation is staffed by thousands of dedicated public servants who have committed their professional lives to achieving successful outcomes for the youth they serve. However, with independent reports dating back 10 years outlining the critical need for major infrastructure improvements and current research forming the basis of a true trauma-informed care model, it is well past the time to make substantial renovations. In their current state, LA probation facilities are not adequate to meet the basic state law requirement of a home-like environment, much less meet the current care first intensive rehabilitation model that juvenile justice requires. It is our responsibility to ensure that every possible effort is made to provide a positive outcome for youth that have been remanded to the care of our probation department. This measure exposes an honest and blunt truth. The tools and facilities have hindered our ability to provide the care that our youth deserve. With me today in support of AB 685 is Jonathan Byrd, Second Vice President, American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, AFSCME, Deputy Probation Officers.
Whenever you're ready, Mr. Byrd. Thank you, Honorable Chair and members of the Assembly. My name is Jonathan Byrd. I love the introduction that she gave me, but I will say my most important position is that I've been working in LA County Probation Department as a juvenile officer for 30 years. And from that, I think this is an easy conversation for me, but it's a difficult task. This is not normally my forte. But I will say this, that I believe everyone in California, including this assembly, is in favor of protecting our youth. The youth in the state of California, sometimes they fall into troubled times and they need that which will give them the environment to succeed in going forth. Also, I like to say, one of the reasons I'm in California is because I've always seen California as a leader, so to speak, in the industry. And it is the work of the Assembly and the Senate and other leaders in this state that we try to provide for the youth those things that will make them succeed, and we'll be able to talk about them in the same manner that we talk about ourselves. The conditions of the infrastructure in several counties in California, in particular Los Angeles County, which is the largest, are antiquated. Some of the structures have been built in 1912. So you can imagine that if I was just to give you a tour of the facilities, I wouldn't even have to give a speech in order for you to understand that our youth have not been provided that which we try to provide to them, which is a care-first therapeutic environment. Those who are caught in the system per se, they should be provided the best of the best in California in order to succeed. The conditions, as I said, were antiquated. A lot of them, when they were constructed, they didn't have individual amenities such as restroom facilities. And therefore, when they are allowed to use those facilities, they do it in group settings, which take away some of the privacies, and that's been an issue. We will also talk about the structure of just looking at how they designed them years ago. When we look back over time, things were constructed for more of a confinement type of environment rather than a therapeutic environment. And so in order to get to the home-like environment that we need to remodel or develop new structures. And this grant, AB 695 is will allow counties to be provided by the state the funding necessary to build those facilities. And when you think about those facilities, a lot of things they don't have like we have today. I was thinking about computers. I remember growing up and when they introduced, I'm looking at the age factor here. Some of you may have never seen a Commodore 64 or a Radio Shack Tandy computer where they had the big 5 1/4 floppy drives. Those things don't provide for today's success. And so when you look at our facilities, a lot of times they don't have the home life, neither do they have the vocational uh, ability to survive, to provide for our youth. We need to have better health care facilities. We need medical and dental facilities located within the structures of the detention facilities. They need to be able to supply these services in real time. But are these areas built within the system currently? Most counties don't have them, in particular LA County. We have to farm out and contract out, which is okay, but that sometimes causes a time delay. And so we need to be able to supply abilities, amenities to our youth. We need to be able to supply them with vocational training skills on site. What does that mean? That means we will have to build automotive centers, technology centers, culinary centers, performing arts centers. And then we'll also have to provide wellness and health care. They'll need gymnasiums that are more adequate, outdoor facilities and amenities. Aesthetics has a lot to do with how you cooperate and how you function. You can take a person who comes into the system and tell them you care about them, but when they can't look out of a window, or if they see graffiti, or if they see the ceiling tiles falling down, or if they can't get to a restroom in a proper time, what are you really saying to the youth? Are you saying they are worthy of having the structures that will dictate how they should strive to succeed? I think not. And so not only that, but also those who we contract out with, community-based organizations, they would like to come in and provide, provide services also. A lot of times the aesthetics of the building or the facility dictates on who wants to come and what they're going to provide and how they can provide it. So I say to the group, and I know my time is running out, that this is not necessarily a hard task. It's an easy task because I know we want to succeed with our youth. And this AB 695 will help us, even though it's an infrastructure, it will help us in developing the things that we need. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to, in support, would like to speak? Name and organization.
Good morning, Joe Shakarnik with the State Building and Construction Trades Council in support. Thank you.
Thank you.
James Michael Powell with the American Federation of State, County, Municipal Employees, AFSCME, in strong support.
Thank you. Is there anyone in opposition?
Thank you. My name is Melinda Kakani. I'm the Director of Youth Justice at Children's Defense Fund, California. I also happen to be Supervisor Holly Mitchell's appointee on the LA County Probation Oversight Commission. However, this testimony is in my capacity as a Director of Youth Justice at Children's Defense Fund, California. I'm here to express my strong opposition to AB 695. I want to start by saying that the problem isn't with the facilities. It's with the people who make it up. It's with the culture of a department rooted in exploitation and control. It's with the way we've prioritized consequences and punishment over healing. This has absolutely nothing to do with the color of the walls, the size of windows, the attractiveness of bedding. It has to do with the people, the power they wield, the harm they inflict, and the impunity with which they do it. In case you didn't notice, this bill does nothing to address that. It's a blank check to improve facilities, an act, again, that will do nothing to improve the outcomes of our young people currently ensnared in the juvenile system, who I assume are the priority here. It isn't the facilities that provide trauma-informed care, it's the people. Honestly, I couldn't help but snicker a little at the institutions in support of AB 695. It is literally all institutions that would benefit financially from the passing of this bill, who maintain their employment because of it, who get contracts because of it. It has nothing to do with they have nothing to do with protecting and caring for our young people. They have nothing to do with being invested in the health, success, well-being, growth, healing, and vulnerability of our young people. And before you stop me with the narrative that probation officers care about our young people, let's examine that a little closer. While there may be good probation officers by and large, we have heard probation staff at Barry J. Nydorf Juvenile Hall and Central Juvenile Hall refer to these young people as murderers, sexual offenders, as monsters. And if you don't believe me, I encourage you to listen to the comments at the Board of State and Community Corrections meeting 2 weeks ago. In quotes, these are not kids who ran away and, oh my God, are victims. These kids are murderers. When you have staff who don't see these young people as anything more than their worst offense, no amount of paint is going to cover that up. When you have the Department of Justice sue LA County and the probation department because young people are storing empty milk containers in their units so they have a place to urinate when staff ignore their banging on the doors to be allowed to use the restroom at night, no furniture is going to change that. When you have over 400 lawsuits alleging sexual and physical abuse, which the union outright denied on NBC Nightly News, no home-like setting is going to eliminate that type of exploitative and predatory behavior. This bill is so misguided in its attempt to provide positive outcomes to our young people, and that leads me to all the people and organizations opposing this bill. These are literally the folks working alongside our young people to build better outcomes, working with them before they touch the system, while in the system, and when they come home with the expressed goal of supporting their success, their freedom, and their contribution to society. And in case you didn't already know, we spend over $400 million in LA County to incarcerate our kids. This department has already received tens of millions of dollars to improve facilities, training, and the like. $17 million from the state, $13 million for cameras for Barry J. Nydorf, $35 million for phase 1 of a 3-phase home-like setting investment pursuant to the DOJ settlement. We don't need more money to do more of the same because 1, more of the same ends up requiring LA County to set aside up to $3 billion this next budget year to settle the sex abuse lawsuits stemming from abuse inside of facilities. And 2, prettier jails don't magically create prettier outcomes. Use your power to do something different. Mandate these dollars go to the Department of Youth Development so that no young person finds themselves in a carceral facility. Remove or reduce probation's power in the incarceration of our children. Vote no on this bill. It is truly a waste of your efforts and our limited resources and a complete rejection of the humanity of our young people. These young people are living in terror, and it has nothing to do with the physical structures they are confined in. I urge you to vote no on AB 695.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in opposition?
Margo George on behalf of the California Public Defenders Association and the San Francisco Public Defender in opposition. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in opposition? We'll bring it back to committee members with any comments or questions. You may close.
I want to thank Mr. Chair and committee members for the opportunity to present this bill. This bill is about the youth. It even states it in the bill that this bill would help with facilities and programs. And my passion is about helping the youth. So this bill would ensure that our justice-involved youth have the tools needed for rehabilitation. They deserve no less. So I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
And so I had the same concerns as the opposition, and I've been open and have stated to everyone that would listen, including the Board of Supervisors, the union, just about everyone. And I even spoke to you about it. That's why we added language in there so that both the Board of Supervisors, hopefully everybody come together as a team to ultimately help these kids. Because at the end of the day, we got to focus on the kids and make sure that their lives are much more enriched by going into the system than before. I believe that the efforts of the BSCC, the Board of Supervisors, and others, and I guess there's a new Department of Youth Development, if they all come together and try to figure this out, things will be fine. But the one thing I did get, I've had staff visit the facilities, and I've heard from the supervisors. One thing that everyone is in agreement, is that the facilities needed to be better than what they are right now, much better. And part of what I wanted done was try to design the facility to match whatever future rehabilitative programs we're going to have. And that's why we put in there, bring things back to us so that we can talk about it and we can help program that. When I say us, that means this Public Safety Committee, the legislature, the governor's office, so that we all have some kind of input, so that we all get the best outcome we can. Especially if in a tight budget year, for us to make that kind of commitment when we really don't have the money, you're really going to have to show how a new facility, in light of what has been said here today, that this comports with what the vision is of where probation, with the probation officers and juvenile justice officers, what they plan to do, and how everybody plans to work together to move this forward. And I know it's been difficult. It's been, because I've heard it all. So I know it's been very, very difficult. But I'm hoping that at least this process that we're going through now will get us get us to where everyone will kind of lower the temperature, think about the kids, and start moving that forward. And hopefully we get somewhere. Otherwise, as this goes, and I sit on sub 5, it may not make out of sub 5. This is a policy committee. As a policy, it probably makes sense to have a facility that comports with what we want in the future for kids. But when it comes to that financial outlay, that biggest hurdle will be appropriations and ultimately